So we're looking now at harder trig equations, and again, if you go back to Desmos, you can see what happens when the period changes, in that we get more laps, so to speak, for our value. So for instance, if the question is still between 0 and 2 pi, instead of having one lap finishing at pi, we've actually got to look at 2 laps. Okay, so that if there's another example of, say, sine 2x equals a half, well, this time we've got more values that we can look at, rather than just in one lap. We've sort of got 2 laps of the period, 2 laps of the function. Okay, so when you have a period change, you're going to get more answers, or you could get less answers if that would have been sine half an x and things like that. But the number of answers won't be 2 anymore. Okay, copy that and come across. Okay, so let's look at sine 2x equals a half, and I've drawn the sine. Again, you don't have to draw, but I'm just saying that's what's happening. We've got sine graph going for 2 periods, and at a half, so we're going to get 4 answers. Okay, and we can see pretty straightforward. There's going to be 4 answers, and we can see how we can find those answers. Okay. So all the answers that we get will be between 0 and 2 pi at the end of the day. So here are the steps we're going to do. Okay, so the first thing you do, you change the domain. Okay, instead of having x in the middle, we're going to change the domain to 2x. Okay, so first step is 0 less than equal to 2x less than equal to 4 pi. So x is between 0 and 2 pi, but 2x is between 0 and 4 pi. So I've just doubled both numbers. Okay. So now we look at the quadrants. That sign is positive. So on the first lap, it's going to be the first and second quadrants. But then after we finished our first lap, the next lap will be the fifth, and the next quadrant will be the sixth. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're getting these new quadrants. Now our answers are not going to be at the end of the day in 5th and 6th quadrant, but that's where we start with. Okay, so step 3 is still solve for first quadrant like we did before, and then we find our other answers. Okay, so first quadrant is what he wants. So our quadrants are 1, 2, 5 and 6. So in the first quadrant, theta, so again we're looking at that half again, so it's going to be pi on 6. In the second quadrant, theta will be pi minus pi on 6, which is 5 pi on 6. Now, in actual fact, what we should have is not theta, we should have as because the function is 2x, it's 2x, 2x, okay? And then in the fifth quadrant, it's going to be 2x. Now, it's going to be the same position as the first quadrant, but just another lap through. So it's going to be pi on 6 plus 2 pi, which will be 13 pi on 6. And then in the sixth quadrant and the fifth and the second quadrant are the same quadrants with just another lap added on. So we get 5 pi on 6, and then just add a lap, which is 2 pi. So 6 2s are 12 plus 5 is 17. Okay. And then we finish our answers because we want to find it for x. So in the first quadrant, if 2x equals pi on 6, then we have pi on 12. If 2x is 5 pi on 6, it's going to be 5 pi on 12. And our fifth quadrant, 13 pi on 6 becomes 13 pi on 12. I'm just dividing all the answers by 2. 17 pi on 6 becomes 17 pi on 12. And so all our answers end up being between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, even though they look like they were much bigger than 2 pi, they are, because we were going, these answers here are between 0 and 4 pi, and then at the end we divide through by 2 to get them back down to 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so copy that, come across, and we'll do some practice hopefully. Alright, so this one here, just for a change, I've got the answer in degrees. Now I'm going to do the domain change for you. So we've got a 2x and we've got a minus 30. So the first thing you do is you get the 2x sorted out. So we're doubling all the numbers. Okay, so 0 to 720. And then we've got to subtract 30, so we put minus 30. And so we subtract 30 from that end, and we subtract 30 from that end. So that's what 2x minus 30 is going to be between. And at the end of the day, our answers will be back to 0 to 360. Okay, so cos is positive. So we've got all stations to central. So for cos being positive, we're looking at these quadrants. But this answer here is the same as this quadrant here. So we actually have this as a negative quadrant. So the quadrants, so step 1 is name the quadrants. So we've got first quadrant, which is that answer, fourth quadrant, and then we're doing 2 laps. So we've got fifth quadrant and eighth quadrant. And then because we've got a minus 30 as part of our answer, the only way you can get negative answers is to have a negative first. Like it's going backwards into this quadrant where cos is going to be positive. Okay, so next step is in the first quadrant. So it's going to be 2x minus 30 equals. So in the first quadrant, for cos being a half, you should get pi on 3. And we're in degrees, so not pi on 3. We're going to make that equal to 60 degrees. Okay, because cos, so sine starts at a half, so cos finishes at a half. So that's our answer in the first quadrant, and then 2x minus 30 equals 360 minus 60 equals 300. And then with our fifth quadrant, 2x minus 30. So fifth and first go together, so it's 60 plus 360 equals 420. The eighth goes with the fourth, so 2x minus 30 equals 300 plus a lap, which is 660. And then this last answer, the negative first quadrant, is just going to be that number with a negative sign in front of it. Okay. Now, let's just follow through. So we're going to take all of these answers and we're going to add 30 and then divide by 2. So add 30 and divide by 2. So the first answer is 45. Next answer, add 30 and divide by 2. 165. Yep. Next answer, the third answer is add 30 and divide by 2. Next answer is add 30 and divide by 2, so that's 345. And the last answer, add 30 and divide by 2, which is minus 15. And then this answer here, we don't use because we have fallen. Okay, so all the answers have to be between 0 and 360. So that answer's okay, that answer's okay, that answer's okay, that answer's okay. This answer is not inside the range, so even though it algebraically exists, it doesn't exist as an answer. Okay, so that's our step. That's our final one there. So copy that and come across. You'll get plenty of practice of these. Okay, so example 3. So we'll work this together. I'll get you started. So we've got a double and an add. So the first thing you do is you double and then we add. When we add, that's 16, that's 17 pi on 4. Okay, so we've got a squared and we've got a square root. So tan of 2x plus pi on 4 equals plus or minus 1. Okay, so our quadrants. Okay, so we've got plus or minus, so we have all the quadrants. So we've got first, second, third, fourth on the first lap, and then we've got our second lap. So we've got fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. We don't have to go any negative quadrants. Okay, But this answer here is in the 9th quadrant. Okay, so we have to look at that answer because that's gone past. Okay, that's the end of the 8th quadrant, and so this answer here is in the 9th quadrant. So it looks like we've got 9 answers, so we'll just go through it methodically. So we've got 2x plus pi on 4, and when tan equals 1, we've got pi on 4. Okay, so then we've got, so if we're going to go across that way, so 2x equals 0, so x equals 0. And whenever you get an answer of 0, that there's going to be another answer at 2 pi because 0 and 2 pi are the same. So 2x plus pi on 4 equals, second quadrant, 3 pi on 4, which means that 2x equals pi, so x equals pi on 2. Okay, so that's first and second. 2x plus pi on 4 equals 5 pi on 4. 2x equals 3 pi on 2. X equals 3 pi on 4. Yep. No, actually I should have been, that one there's wrong. I should have subtracted. That should be pi on 2, so that should be pi on 4. Sorry about that. I'm sure you've already worked that out. So subtracting, we're subtracting. So the answer's wrong as well. So I'm subtracting, which is going to be pi, which will be pi on 2. So now we're getting a pattern. Okay, so the 4th quadrant equals 7 pi. So subtract is 3 pi on 2, gives us 3 pi on 4. So we're going up in quarter pies. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, what's the 5th? 2x plus pi on 4. So we take our answer here and add all that. So that'll be 9 pi on 4. Okay, so that's 2 pi, so x equals pi. So again, we've still got the symmetry going up in pies. Okay, so you keep going. It's going to be 5 pi on 4, 3 pi on 2, 7 pi on 4, and the last one will be 2 pi. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's going to end up being 9 answers. And whenever you get an answer of 0, you must get an answer of 2 pi because the answers are the same spot. So whenever you get a 0 answer and you know that's right, you will get a 2 pi answer. So look, there's some more steps here to go just to finish it off, but that's basically it. And again, I wouldn't necessarily think that's appropriate for an exam sort of question, but it's just because it's just so many answers. But it's available. Okay, bye.